But that's the regular season, fellas. It all comes down. This is what we're all after, right? This is what's at stake here. The Lombardi Trophy. I called in a favor. I had Rods drop it off this morning. I got to ship it back, overnight it back to him. But I've got it. It's a lot smaller in person. You'd never believe it. So let's talk playoffs, right? We've got super wild card weekend coming at us. Before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a special shout out to today's sponsors, starting with Goldfine and Bowles, lawyers for the injured. Personal injury, workers' compensation, those are their two things, but any sort of legal advice, they're the people to call. Give them a phone call, 309-673-5144. Tell them we sent you, okay? And I'd also like to shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video as well. Use promo code PLAYBOOKSPORTS on their website to get $20 off your first purchase of $30 or more. Let's get back to the video. And the first game is a good one. It's a good one. Cleveland at Houston, the current line. Cleveland -2.5 on the road. Sage, where are you going in this game?
You know what? This is one of the harder games to pick right now. The Deshaun Watson Bowl.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson Bowl.
Yep.
It'd be great if he was playing so Houston could actually have something to, play for.
Right.
But I don't think so. I think Joe Flacco is gonna go into Houston and take them down. I think that defense is playing absolutely lights out. Obviously, week 18, we're completely disregarding.
Yeah.
That doesn't count at all. But Joe Flacco, he's been playing lights out. He's going to go in there against a Houston defense that has played better than we expected, a lot better than we expected.
For sure.
But still, not a great defense, And we saw what he just did a few weeks ago against the New York Jets, right? On top of that, obviously C.J. Stroud, he's coming off this huge high of really saying like, hey, like, we're here. We're AFC South champs. I think they're going to come down to earth a little bit. They're playing a great defense in Cleveland, right? And it's nowhere near how middling the Colts is right now. I got Cleveland. And it's not just because of Joe Flacco. Obviously, we talk about their roster every single week. And there's a reason for it. They're grinding out wins. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They're grinding out wins.
Okay. What's your confidence score on that?
It's what, -2.5?
Yep.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
4 on that. All right. So Sage uses his 4. For those of you watching along, since there's only so few games, it's going to be unlikely that there's a ton of variance in our pick totals. So we assign a confidence score. The higher the number, the more confident. So Sage using up his 4 there means that's the 4th most confident or the 3rd most confident, however you want to do it. Either way, you get those points. So if you get your 6th game right, that's 6 points. If you get it wrong, you just set yourself way back. So that's why it's so important. Sage, I'm glad you took Cleveland because I know where I'm going with this one, and I'm going opposite on you. I'm going Houston in this game.
Ooh.
And let me explain why. I love the narrative of Flacco going to Baltimore. Do I think that they would have a chance in Baltimore? No, I don't. But I don't. Cleveland on the road is a different team. They're just not the same team. And just looking at their numbers here, on the road, they lost to the Steelers. They gave up 26 points. They, on the road, beat the Colts by 1, but gave up 38 points to the Colts and Gardner Minshew. On the road in Seattle, lost, gave up 24 points. On the road in Baltimore, beat Baltimore, but gave up 31 points. On the road in Denver, lost, gave up 29 points. On the road in LA against the Rams recently, lost and gave up 36 points. And then on the road at Houston, they did win, so that's a big one. They won, but they gave up 22 points in that one as well. And then just recently on the road in Cincinnati, lost, gave up 31 points. If this game's in Cleveland, I think that the line, rightfully so, would be Cleveland -8.5 because Cleveland's a better team and their defense is vicious at home. But on the road, man, they're a bulldog. They're a pit bull at home. On the road, they're just these little chihuahuas. They're just little miniature dachshunds. They're just going to yip at you, maybe bite your ankles a little bit. Houston just played their first playoff game in what C.J. Stroud said was the loudest stadium he's ever played in, and they won. They went on the road and won their first playoff game. Now they get to come home, take on a team that they're counted out. They're a home dog. They're a home dog. I love it. I love it. I'm all in on C.J. Stroud, the rookie, doing the damn thing against Cleveland and knocking them out. I love it so much, I'm going to give it a 2. That's my confidence on that as a whole whopping 2 points because I'm smart about it. But I love it, and I really do think that Houston could come out with the victory here. If not, at least cover the 2.5 for me. Addison, I'm coming to you.
Yes, sir. So you touched on it, Nate. These two teams did play a couple weeks ago. I think it was week 16. No CJ Stroud in that game.
Yeah.
But what was in that game? And it was the Houston Texans starting defense. And Joe Flacco lit them up for 368, 3 tuds. He did have 2 picks.
Amari Cooper, baby, career game.
Cooper, 11 for 265 and 2 tuds. Holy cow.
Hit it
Don't
for me
think
in
we're going to
fantasy.
get that repeat performance from Cooper, but I still think the Browns offense will show up. I am going to be on the Browns minus the 2.5. Love that it's under 3. Give me that hook all day. I think CJ Stroud's going to make an impact, and this will be a close game, Nate. I don't think it's going to be a situation where Cleveland's defense comes out and completely shuts down the Houston Texans, but I think they're going to do enough. I think they're going to be able to create a little bit of pressure, and Myles Garrett's going to have a couple sacks off CJ Stroud's blind side. And I think Joe Flacco and the offense, though, the Cleveland Browns will be humming. Last week, a bye week. Sure, they obviously played some guys, but get rest. Amari Cooper don't play. Joe Flacco don't play. Everybody sit. We're going to take this as a 2-week bye going into the playoffs against whoever wins between Indy and Houston. It was Houston. And they're going to be ready to go. The 2.5, I just love it. I think it's going to be a close game, but since it's no more than that, I'm going to ride with the 5 on those Cleveland Browns. I love that roster. Just a close spread like that. Again, Dustin Hopkins in the clutch this year, man. He's a great kicker. So if it comes down to his leg, I'm going to be feeling good. I think it will be a close game, though. Close game, though, Nate. I think the Browns could score 36, close to that again in the 30s. But give me those Texans to score around 28. They scored 22 last time with an onside kick to get 2 possessions in a row, 2 touchdowns in a row. But that was with Davis Mills. So I don't really care. I think it'll be a close game, though. Browns cover the 2.5, 5 on it.
I like it. Colin, bring us home on this one.
Yeah, this is a tough one to pick because I genuinely do like both of these teams. So it's like I don't have a rooting interest against one of these teams as I will in a lot of these other games. But you talked about it, Nate, when you first opened. Cleveland on the season, 11 points given up at home defensively. They're giving up 29 a game on the road. That's 18 more points on the road versus home, which is understandable. They're in the dog pond versus they're on the road. But there's one thing in this league that travels, especially in the playoffs, and that's a run game. And that's a good defense. And Cleveland has both of those things to go with the Super Bowl winning quarterback in Joe Flacco. But give me those Houston Texans at home plus the 2.5 points. Everything in my heart tells me to take the Browns, which is why I'm going Houston. I think they can do it. That's it. That's the only explanation.
I like it. So then what's that confidence score going to be? Probably low.
A 3.
3. Okay. All right. I like that. Using the 3 there. Okay.
Middle of the pack.
So we've got me and Colin on Houston with lower scores, and then Sage and Addison feeling the Cleveland Browns going on the road and getting it done.
Right.
It's a good game. I like that. That's what we open with. That's going to be a fun one to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And then we go to Saturday night, the Peacock exclusive, like I knew we would play in. I knew that was what we were going to play in, was the Peacock exclusive. It's your Miami Dolphins traveling to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs in what will be 7 to 10 degree weather. It is going to be cold. Cleveland's mayor came out and said, stay home. Don't go out this weekend because this weather is going to be shitty. Good luck going anywhere, everybody. It's going to be terrible. Currently, the line is Kansas City minus 4 points at home. Addison, what are your thoughts here?
Man, I love to pick against the Dolphins. It's practically law around here, but oh, man, 4 points is a lot for a Kansas City Chiefs team that really hasn't looked like they deserve that all season. But then you look at them have 11 wins. So this was a terrible year with Kelsey not reaching 1,000 and no receivers can catch and everything's done and 11 wins, win their division still. And they're right here hosting the Dolphins, who are a warm weather team coming to play that cold weather football. But you got a great defensive coordinator, Vic, that I think is going to have some boys humming. And I believe in, hey, is Mostert playing? He's finally back? Because he's got to be, right?
and Waddle should both be going.
If they don't play, give me that Chiefs by 50. But if it's Mostert involved, though, that 1,000-yard, 18 touchdown season, I think it's going to be a battle of the run games, obviously. Yeah. And man, this is tough. But give me those Dolphins plus the 4. Too many points in a close playoff game. When if it's going to be cold, Those receivers, stone hands, aren't going to be any better in KC. And I trust Miami's run defense, and I'm not worried. The only thing I guess that really scares me about Kansas City in the playoff come time, Mahomes is going to rush for 75 yards.
Yeah,
Watch
he
out.
will.
He just will, man. In the playoffs, he starts going crazy.
Yeah.
So if Mahomes goes crazy on the ground, who knows? But Dolphins plus the 4, too many points in a close game. Both run games impact it. And that's why McDaniels, it's huge to have that run game and don't get away from it. And I get it's going to be harder to in cold weather, but please let's pound the damn rock because it's going to be what keeps you guys in this game and covers that 4 points. And I'm going to put a 3 on that confidence.
3 on it. Okay. I like it. Colin, thoughts on this one?
So I really never pick against Miami as much as I can for rooting interests,
Right.
of course. Miami's my AFC team of choice. I normally like to tend to root for, as Nate and everybody else here that knows me knows. I just don't know. I don't pick against them often. And last week I did, and it paid off. The week before I did as well, and it didn't pay off against Dallas, but that's my team, so I can't do that.
Can't do that.
The thing I look at in this game is Miami's been labeled, the hot weather team that's kind of more finesse and flashy and kind of wants to dance versus, fight kind of deal. They don't want to physical. They don't want to hit you up front. They kind of want to dance around you and beat you with the finesse and speed. Can they do that in the cold? We've seen it the last few years. Teams that wear white in a snowy game tend to win those games.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Miami
That's
comes
why
out
they
wears
win
white.
too. That's why they
What's
win.
up?
Yeah. I
What's
said
up?
that's actually the reason they win is because they've got the white
Yeah, it's because the
jerseys.
quarterback can't see the team in white in the snow. No,
Mhm.
in all seriousness, though, I think I'm going to take Kansas City here minus the 4, hedge my bets. I'm going to put a 4 confidence on it to also hedge my bets. I just
Sure.
think when it comes down to the end of the day, it's Mahomes at a home playoff game in Arrowhead. You're going to get Pacheco running like an absolute menace. And who wants to get in front of
Yeah.
that guy in negative wind chill? Not me. And all it takes is a Kansas Chief receiver actually catching just 1 or 2 impact plays to really make a difference. And then I think Kelsey can get him over the hump with Mahomes and everyone else doing it. And not to only mention the offense, but to also mention as good as the Chiefs defense has been this season. I don't think it's more so the back half that's going to keep them in it. I think it's the front 4 that's going to be able to get home against Miami's offensive line, especially some backups on the interior of the Miami offensive line. You're going to have Chris Jones just barreling down at you all day long. And I think that's going to be inevitably the issue in this game. So give me the Chiefs minus the 4.
Okay. Chiefs minus 4 with a 4 on it. Sage, thoughts?
I think Opal and Chiefs here are being a little nice to you, Nate.
Oh,
And here's my reasons why.
Mhm.
Who is rushing Patrick Mahomes?
Justin Houston and Melvin Ingram. We brought in Justin Houston.
Oh. Oh, well, he needs all 8 sacks to make a difference because he
Wow.
gets 8 a year.
He gets 8.
He's going to need all of them in this game
He's
right
due.
here
He's
because
due.
I absolutely see Patrick Mahomes pulling out his playoff magic like he does every year. Has not lost at home in the playoffs. And you know why? Because he's got
lost.
Travis Kelce next
He
to him.
lost to Cincinnati.
Oh, you're right.
Get the one.
Apologies.
No
This
fake
time
news
he-
on this program, sir.
He is playing to turn the ball over this game, though.
Wow.
And that's a big reason why I'm also picking them. Obviously, Tua, his game last week against a Bills defense that was not all there.
Nope.
Really gave me a lot of it crushed the false hope I already had. I thought Tua was over this hump, and obviously you put it in perspective earlier this season, Nate. The AFC East has a clockwork of who beats what teams, and you guys can't beat the Bills.
No.
That just seems to be what it is. But if you can't beat the Bills, who Rasul Douglas was out, obviously they're playing without multiple starters, and you guys still have Tyreek Hill, he can't get over 100 yards. That's rough. And now you're playing what is a top 10 defense in this league. What is Patrick Mahomes, and still who is Travis Kelce, who was only 14 yards short of another 1,000-yard season, regardless of having a down year. Rashee Rice also had 127 yards the last game that mattered. Isaiah Pacheco obviously had another over 100-yard game the last game that mattered. They're kind of hitting their stride at the wrong time for you guys to be playing them. I am giving all of my confidence points a 6 on the Chiefs.
Oh, man. God, that's going to feel good. That's going to feel good.
Bet.
Minus the 4, too. That's a lot of points for those Chiefs to cover.
It's
My
not
only
enough.
worry is for the Chiefs, because this is safe haven home in the playoffs. Like you said, I mean, obviously in the AFC Championship game, but still it's They're almost unbeatable at home in the playoffs. What happens if the Dolphins go up 7-0 and the Chiefs punt? Because they've already shown they tweak. They are susceptible to freaking out a little bit because things haven't really bounced their way once in a game where things are bouncing back and forth. It seems to always go the other team's way. As dumb as it is, I hate teams receiving first. And I hate it, especially in the playoffs, but I can't lie. I might be saying Miami, go get that
Take the
coin toss,
ball.
go win it, take the ball, march, and score. Obviously, tough task to do.
Yeah.
But I think this is maybe the one time I'm going to be saying, Miami, if you win that coin toss, receive, and it's not a bad thing if the Chiefs defer and you get that ball anyway. Because
Yeah.
if you can march, go down, score, put Kansas City in a situation where backs against the wall quickly, who knows? But in a close game, I think it could come down to playoff magic. But that 4 could still cover with a game-winning field goal. Come on.
Good point.
Come
All
on. I
right,
know that's
I
not
hear
what you
everything.
want, Nate, but that's what
I
I
hear
want.
everything you guys are saying, right? I hear it all. Weather in this game's gonna suck. It's gonna
Let
be
me add one more thing really quick before you go, because I just want you to address this as well. Does this not just, I know completely different Dolphins teams from several years ago to this year, completely different personnel, different quarterback, coach across the board. Does this not kind of smell like that Pittsburgh playoff game a few years ago?
I can see.
I know
why.
Matt Moore and Brian Flores. Was it Flores or was it still Gase?
It was Gase.
Yeah, Matt
Ugh.
Moore and Adam Gase is not Mike McDaniels and Tua Tagovailoa.
No.
No shadow of a doubt. But
And there's
it
no
just-
Antonio Brown on Kansas City.
That is a good point as well.
Prime Antonio Brown, Big Ben, and Le'Veon Bell was amazing that year for them.
That is true, but I would argue that the Chiefs are just as much of like a, I don't want to say dynasty because the Steelers didn't win with that core, but the Chiefs are kind of like that same like aura kind of around. That's
Oh, yeah.
where my mind just goes for this.
No, I get it. I get it. It's Miami, cold Miami going to, or warm Miami going to freezing cold Kansas City. You hate to see that. Negative 16-degree wind chill, freezing cold. I think that the fact that it's going to be hard to throw the ball favors Miami. And here's why. Last week against the Buffalo Bills, first half, Devon Achane and the rushing game had 127 yards and a touchdown. And in the second half, we ran the ball 3 times. We quit running the ball. If it's too cold to throw it, you're going to have to run it. And we ran it on the Bills, no problem. Also, fun fact for you. This is a chance to be the coldest temperature game the Dolphins have played in franchise history. Their most recent, like the coldest one in history, 2008 in Kansas City. Dolphins won that game 38-31. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. If we have to run the ball, if it's too cold for us to pass the ball, which it will be, and we have to run the ball, I like that for us. I really do. I know we aren't going to be able to rush the passer, but do they have a receiver who can catch a pass? I don't know. Does it matter if you only rush 4 and drop back 7 all day long? You don't get home, okay? Spy Mahomes, drop 6, and cover the receivers who can't catch. It seems simple. Also, Tyreek Hill revenge game. Tyreek back in Kansas City for the first time. I like us in this spot. And nobody's going to pick us. Everyone's against us. I prefer that. I'd much prefer that. Do we lose by 3? Maybe. Last year in Buffalo, we were 13.5-point underdogs. Had no chance in that game, right? Josh Allen versus Skylar Thompson. The Dolphins defense was worse last year. The Bills offense was better. And it was a 3-point game. I think the Chiefs have shown some chinks in the armor this year. Obviously, their most recent home games, they lost back-to-back home games. Lost to the Bills, lost to the Raiders at home before beating the Bengals at home. Like, Arrowhead is not the Arrowhead of old. I like us in this spot in the low-scoring game. 4-point spread.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Give me those Dolphins, baby. And you know what, Sage? I'm going to put
Yeah.
balls on table.
Do it.
With a confident score of 6.
There it is.
Dolphins to cover, Dolphins to win this game and knock out the Chiefs. And then they're like, we need a receiver who can catch the ball because Mahomes can't do it all himself, boys. We've seen it all year where we're like, man, are the Chiefs going to get going offensively? I don't know. I like the Dolphins in this spot in a game where no one expects them to do a damn thing. Give me Miami with a confident score of 6. I'm ready. Let's rock.
I want Mike McDaniels to take the card from Shane Steichen's playbook in that fact that Steichen even came out and said he's not afraid to call the same play over and over and over and over if it's working.
Yep.
Why get away from something that is working? McDaniels, if that run game starts to work, 30 to 40 carries. I do not care. Tua can throw the ball 10 times. Give him a
Yep.
Jimmy Garoppolo game. It don't matter. A win in the playoffs is what matters. 30 to 40 runs if it's needed, if it's working. Please do not be afraid to do that.
Yes, the only reason we aren't the division champs right now is because of a ball that was thrown off of Andrew Van Ginkel's helmet, shot straight up in the air and fell right into Trent Sherfield's hands, and a 95-yard punt return touchdown. The Dolphins held the Bills to nothing offensively points-wise. A fluky touchdown catch and a punt return touchdown. That's it. And then
That touchdown catch was on second down, and you don't know where it was going.
but still, like, that was a fluky. Can you agree that that's a lucky play? Like,
Absolutely fluky.
that ball's
Absolutely
straight up in
fluky.
the air. You're thinking, oh, that's picked. That ball's straight up in the air. Someone's going to get their hands on it and pull it down. And it just happens to fall into the perfect spot where Sherfield can get his toes to tap in and pull it in. And then a 95-yard punt return touchdown was the difference in that football game.
Nate, I can't explain it, but that helmet makes you look so much more like your dad.
Fair enough.
It's just the no hair above the eyebrows is what's
Yeah,
getting
That's
you.
it. That's it.
I'll say, where the hell did you get a helmet to fit that big ass noggin, Nate?
I don't know. It was
How tight
downstairs
is that
my
thing on your
basement,
head?
and it's good. It fits on nicely.
I'm just
I
kidding.
know.
I guess my one refute to that is will Mahomes turn it over 3 times to help Miami's defense? But on the other
Don't that-
side, will Miami get one of these plays to go their way? Are they going to continue to give the tip ball touchdown, the punt
Right.
return touchdown, the Tyreek Hill strip on a bubble screen touchdown the other way? Like, is Miami going to get one of these plays to go their way, or are they just going to keep being the victim of all of these BS, fluky bounce plays?
Mhm.
And that's going to be a big part of this game. Turnovers as well, as I mentioned. It's gonna be
Agreed.
huge as well.
Agreed. I think this is a game where it's like, all right, yep, good job. You proved, McDaniel, you proved to everybody that you could get the most out of Tua as a quarterback. He led the NFL in passing yards. He threw 29 passing touchdowns. That's fantastic. Fantastic season. Good job. You did it.
Yeah.
Now let's just run the stupid football. You've got 3 of your starting offensive linemen back, and look how good they ran the ball last week against the Bills. Ran it right down their throat, and then they stopped. Don't stop. Just do it. Just keep going. And I think in a
Pop
cold
that,
weather
don't
game, we're gonna
stop.
be forced
Pop
to.
that, pop that, pop that. Don't stop. Pop that, don't stop.
Bingo. Give me the
Bingo.
Dolphins. Let's move on. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. We got to cook through these here. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Current line is Buffalo minus 9.5. Pittsburgh official today. No TJ Watt. Huge loss for them. I'm going to go first, and I'm going with Pittsburgh. I'm going with Pittsburgh to cover the 9.5 points. A lot of points in a playoff game. Buffalo has shown they do not cover a lot of points in a playoff game. Pittsburgh's
Any
feisty right now. Pittsburgh is a fiery team. They needed to win out. They went into Baltimore twice, or not them. They went into Baltimore and beat backups. Granted, backups. Their offense looked bad, but there were still some starters out there for the Ravens. Patrick Queen played.
You can't throw too much on that game. It was absolutely downpouring the entire game.
Right.
Awful weather. Absolutely
Oh,
awful.
no,
weather.
and I don't give the Steelers any credit really for winning that game, other than that they had to win it to get in, really. But I like what the Steelers have done the last few weeks. I thought they were dead. I thought they were dead in the water. And then they started playing decent football. And the Bills, again, yes, they've won 5 in a row. They were 6-6 and they've won 5 in a row. They have not had a good convincing win since the Dallas game. They haven't. Like, that's just a fact. They beat the Patriots by 6, beat the Chargers by 2, and beat us by 7. And it took a punt return touchdown and just some nonsense to happen in order to do it. Josh Allen has not looked that good these last few weeks. Threw 2 interceptions last week and had a fumble. And then before that, he threw a pick against the Patriots. I mean, he ended the year with 18 interceptions. And when it comes to fumbles lost, he had 5 fumbles and 3 of them lost. So he had 21 turnovers on the year. Ton of turnovers. You can't do that against Tomlin, who will hopefully just rely on the running backs. I'm going Pittsburgh plus 9.5, and I'm putting 1 on it. 1 is all. I'm using my 1 on this one. So give me Pittsburgh. Addison.
I'm going to take the Bills minus the 9.5. I'm going to throw my 2 confidence on it because, Nate, everything you just said is so true. Bills offense, I mean, it's so close to being unlocked, but they can't put it all together all in the same game. You said it. Gabe Davis was just a no-show. And now this week, watch out for Gabe Davis to go for a hundy. But I'm going to go with TJ Watt not being there being enough to give Josh Allen just a tiniest bit of an edge on so many plays. And he'll be able to do enough. James Cook run game. Hopefully it's enough as well. But this will be a big one, I think, for the Bills. Obviously, the Steelers sneak in a little bit, and now they're banged up as well. Got to take advantage and put on a little bit of a show so you can have some confidence going forward. But right now this Bills team's hot. They've won out to get in, and they're still playing this playoff football, but now it's for real. But give me those Bills minus the 9.5. I'm putting 2 confidence score on it.
Okay, I like it. Colin.
This is such a tough game to pick because I think the Steelers are putrid, like very bad. But at the same time, the Bills have been up and down. And honestly, you talked about Miami's run game in the first half last week and how they exploited it. Guess what? Pittsburgh's not a team that's going to go away from the run because that's really mostly what their offense is. They got 2 good running backs and a pretty good offensive line they're going to rely on. Keep it short and sweet. I'm going to take the Bills, and I'm going to put I still have my 2 rating, right?
Correct. You've used 3 and 4.
I'm going to put my 2 on the Bills, minus 9.5.
Okay, I like it. Sage.
TJ Watt's a huge loss.
Yes, huge loss. Huge loss. Sage.
Yeah, TJ Watt's a huge loss in this game, obviously, but I am going to roll with Pittsburgh plus the 9.5 here, mostly for the reason that they are using Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren extremely effectively right now. I think they're going to grind clock as much as possible, keep this close, and if they can be within 1 score in the last 5 minutes, that's the game they want to play. That's how they're going to play it the entire game. And then I'm going to give them my 5.
You're 5. Woo.
5. I think the NFC side is just a lot closer.
All in early. Okay, I like it. I like it. Next up, Green Bay going to Dallas to take on those Cowboys. I'm going to start with you, Sage. Who you got in this one? What do you like? What do you not like?
So the spread right here, obviously the 7.5 is kind of a killer. Yeah, actually, give me Green Bay right here plus 7.5. I do think that the Cowboys should win this game. They've been playing it pretty close recently, aside from that Commanders beat down the last game of the year to win the division. Congrats to the Dallas Cowboys. But Green Bay, I'm really looking at their defense right now and just who do they have to cover CeeDee Lamb? Jair Alexander, obviously he's a good corner, but CeeDee Lamb is next level this year. He's been an absolutely godlike creature on the Cowboys this year. And even Tony Pollard got it going last week. Granted, against the last ranked defense in the NFL, but they're kind of hitting on all cylinders right where you want them to right where you want them to do it. But on the other side, the Green Bay Packers last week, they held the red hot Chicago Bears to 9 points. On top of that, they scored. It says they scored 17. I get that. If you watched the game, like I was watching the game intently, they were moving up and down that field. I believe they didn't punt until the middle of third quarter. They were just grinding away, getting these long plays, getting these long completions, and even Aaron Jones looked kind of good last week. So for that reason, I'm kind of using the same logic as I did with the Steelers. I think they're going to grind away, get those short yardage situations, keep putting up field goals, put up a few touchdowns, but nothing too crazy. But it's going to be closer than I think that a lot of people think.
What do you have for a confidence score on this one?
Give me a 2.
2. Okay. All righty. Addison, thoughts?
Well, rooting for one of these teams and rooting for the downfall on the other. I'm going to take Dallas minus the 7.5. This team is at home, and they are on a roll at home. What is it? 15 straight victories with a fluke loss in the last season from it being 16 straight, a perfect season at home. But man, I just think the Dallas Cowboys offense is going to be too much. You said it, CeeDee Lamb, 1,700 yards, and then you still have to guard Cooks. You still have to guard all the tight ends. You have to worry about the backfield. I think Green Bay did get hot at the end of the season, went out to get in, but Dallas, they did play close games near the end of the year, but they're against a bunch of playoff teams and some teams that people think are going to go deep into the playoffs. So we'll give them a little bit of slack on that. I just think it's going to be too much for the Packers when Dallas is scoring touchdown after touchdown. Mike McCarthy against the team that got rid of you eventually had to. I get why they did, but there's a little bit of revenge there for McCarthy, and it's just time for the Cowboys to get over the hump. I think this is going to be a beatdown. I think this could be 14 points, 2 touchdowns. So give me Dallas minus the 7.5, and I'm putting my 6 confidence score on these boys. I think they come out, make a statement, and say, thank you, Philadelphia, for your choke, because we enjoy playing at home, and we'll take 2 games at home. Please. Thank you very much.
There you go. Yeah. For every reason you just said, I'm on Dallas minus 7.5. They've got my 5 confidence score in this one. Dallas at home is just a different animal, honestly. And Green Bay on the road, nothing spectacular. I mean, they
Oh,
just
yeah.
went toe to toe with Carolina, and
They're
they
4
won
and 5
33
on
to
the road.
30. Yeah. I just don't trust them on the road. Great season from them, a shockingly good season from them. I just don't think that they have any hope going to Dallas and competing in this game. I really don't. Dallas's defense is something better than they've seen most of the season. Dallas's offense is as good as any offense they've seen all season.
Yeah,
They
they're not
won't be
going to
able to
hold
keep
the
up.
Cowboys to 9 points.
No, there's simply no way they hold the Cowboys to 9 points. Not in Dallas. Knock on wood. All in on Dallas here, -7.5. I love them in this spot. Colin.
Quickly talking about CeeDee Lamb, number one, Jair Alexander does not travel with receivers. That'll be huge if Dallas decides to move him around. We're talking about CeeDee Lamb, who finished second in the NFL in receiving yards, only 50 behind Tyreek Hill, although I know Tyreek missed some time. CeeDee Lamb, 350 receiving yards and 1 touchdown through 5 weeks. All he did was 1,411 touchdowns through the last 12 weeks.
Went
Good
nuts.
God. Finally,
Yeah.
they decided to give him the ball. You know where I'm going. Give me those Green Bay Packers plus the 7.5. Ultimate hedge spot. Dallas, just come out and win. And win me my pick. Green Bay plus 7.5. Give me my 5 scale on it.
Woo, 5 on that one. Damn. Okay.
Don't break my heart, Dallas. Don't do it.
Oof. Okay, Dallas gonna blow them out.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got the last game on Sunday, and it is a script writer's dream. This is just more further proof that the NFL is very, very scripted. McCarthy taking on the Packers. Hill going to take on the Chiefs. We've got the Deshaun Watson Bowl. And now we've got Matt Stafford coming to Detroit to take on the Lions in the playoffs. It is currently a line of Detroit -3.5. I don't like this one. This one's probably the hardest one to pick for me, personally. Sage, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I saved my one confidence score for this one specifically. Obviously, the Rams have been red hot recently. And when I say that, like, I have high aspirations for them, I could see them not only winning this game, but I could see them in the NFC Championship game. With the way Matthew Stafford's playing, with the way their offensive weapons, that those diamonds in the rough they found, they're just exploding onto the scene, and their no-name defense is absolutely carrying the load, which no one expected. It's a masterclass by Sean McVay, but on the other side, you got the Detroit Lions, who Dan Campbell, you can't say enough about the job he's done. They are without Sam Laporta this game, a hyperextended knee. He probably won't be back unless they make the championship game.
Yeah.
With that, I'm going to go with the LA Rams right here against my Detroit Lions. I'm going to give it that one confidence score, but Matthew Stafford's playing like a man possessed, and we're going to see what Jared Goff can do without that security blanket with Laporta.
Okay. I like it. I'm with you on the Rams in this one. I actually like them a little bit more in this spot than you do, though. I really think that this will come down to coaching. I think that they're making this game a pick 'em essentially on purpose because, and I love the hook. I love the 3.5 hook. The Rams running game is really, really good. They can also throw the ball. Stafford, Puka, Cooper Kupp. The Lions cannot play defense against them. And I know that the Rams have a no-name defense, but that no-name defense has played a lot better than they should have this year. And in a game in the playoffs, I always like to look at 2 things, quarterback and coach. And I think Stafford has been just as good as Goff this year. I mean, statistically, they're close. Stafford missed some time, but then it comes down to coaching. And I like Sean McVay as a head coach more than I like Dan Campbell, as much as I love me some Dan Campbell. I'm going with the Rams, and they're going to get my 4 on the road to cover 3.5. Addison.
Then I'm also on the Rams, loving that hook, and I'm also throwing my 4 confidence, my 4 confidence on this one. I think the storybook is just too perfect, and it's heartbreaking for Lions fans that it's going to be Matt Stafford beating them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd take a money line if I had to, but
Dang.
the Lions finally reached the pinnacle of what they wanted. They've hit the playoffs. Obviously, they want more than that. They're thinking Super Bowl in the locker room. But now the lights are brightest. You're hosting a playoff game, and you're looking on the other side. And sadly, the guy that you gave away has been here, done that in Stafford, and same with McVay. It's just not going to be too much for them in a scenario where I think this could be too much for the Lions. Obviously, the Cowboys game, I still think it's going to be in their head a little bit, just because if another thing goes against their way, it's, man, really everything's rolling wrong right now. And I'm just worried that might be the case. I think Kyron Williams is going to have a monster game on the ground for the Rams. I mean, they're 7-1 to end the season, with the one loss being Baltimore, 6-1 if you want to take out the last game with no starters practically for either team. So still 6-1 with the loss being Baltimore in Baltimore by 6 in OT. I mean, they're rolling right now. Sage, I would not be shocked if they made the NFC Championship game. They're straight up the team nobody wants to play in either side right now. I mean, they have to be, because their one loss is against the best team in football, took them to the wire, and you got a guy who's recently won a Super Bowl with great weapons. It's not just Cup. It is great weapons all around him right now, and the defense is just doing enough. And so give me those Rams plus the 3.5. Put my 4 on it. Again, love the hook. I think that's huge. I think they're going to win, though. Money line, straight up.
Okay, I agree with you entirely. Colin, bring us home on this one. What you got?
Yeah, love points in this game, both sides. I think they move it up and down. I think the difference in this game, Detroit's run defense has been very good this season. They're a top 5 run defense. That's something the Rams really like to do with Kyron Williams being a first-time Pro Bowler, as he should have been. Great season from Kyron Williams and the Rams. I do think at the end of the day, it's going to be Rams plus the 3.5 for my pick. We're going to get a clean sweep playoff edition. I love the hook there. I think Laporte is a big miss.
Yes.
You're going to be relying on somebody like a Khalif Raymond, someone like a Jameson Williams, someone of these other guys, a Brock Wright, another tight end. Can you guys step up and fill that void and step up and be a number 2 option behind Amon-Ra? Can Detroit get the run game going with Montgomery and Gibbs against Aaron Donald in that defensive front? I don't know. I love points in this game, but I like the Rams and the hook more.
Okay. Confidence score.
1 as well.
1. Oh, man.
Ideal situation. Rams win money line. Eagles win money line. Philly comes to Dallas.
I was going to say, that's, I know it's what you're
Rams
hoping
go
for.
knock out the Niners. Rams come to Dallas in the championship game.
Okay. I
Well,
like it. So a clean sweep for the Rams, which brings us into Monday night's last playoff game of the wild card weekend. It's the Philadelphia Eagles going into Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. Currently, the line is Philadelphia -3. This one is probably the hardest one for me to pick, and I wish I hadn't used my 1 already, because I would use my 1 in this game, honestly, much like Addison is doing, which was smart. I am just going to take Philadelphia -3 with the winning pedigree. I think Philadelphia is the better team overall. They went 11-6. I don't think they're very good. I don't think that they're going to go far, truthfully. And after that big letdown last week, it's hard to take them to beat anybody. But I'm just not afraid of the Bucs when they win 9-0 against Carolina with their season hanging in the balance. That just doesn't scare me at all. Baker Mayfield is the king of highs and lows. There's no middle ground with him. He's either 350 yards and 3 tuds, or he's $125 and 2 picks. So I think the Eagles' winning pedigree, the fact that this is their 3rd straight postseason appearance, 11 wins, I think it does enough to win and to cover the 3 points here, and maybe it pushes at 3. I don't know. But give me Philly, and I'll put my final confidence rating. It is a 3 on that game. Sage.
My confidence rating, obviously, I only have a 3 left, so it's going to be a 3. But I'm going to roll with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. The reason I'm doing that, obviously, last week, A.J. Brown went down. Who knows if he's playing? They have Antoine Winfield on the other side. He's going to help lock down Devontae Smith. And Lavonte David has quietly had an amazing season this year to really help with that run game that Philadelphia always is going to bring. On top of that, Mike Evans has been Mike Evans. Absolutely phenomenal year. Baker Mayfield's going to hold them just enough afloat. And I have no confidence that Philly can beat anyone in the league right now, judging by the past few weeks.
Yeah, I agree. So Tampa Bay plus the 3 points at home. I like it. Yep. Addison, thoughts here?
I'm going to be taking Tampa Bay. I'm obviously putting my 1 confidence score because it's all I got left. I think this is going to be a close game, though. I think, obviously, the Week 3 matchup such a long time ago, I think the Eagles still had a little bit too much respect, given around the league, and their heads were still high. Obviously, that was the Bucs' first loss, which started a string of L's. But now things have completely changed. They can see that how Philly is susceptible to the passing game, and they're going to have to make impact plays with Mike Evans and get Chris Godwin the ball as well. Baker's going to have to show up because Philly's going to be ready to play, but they've got a bad taste in their mouth and they can't get it out. They just can't get it out no matter what they drink. It's still in there, and I think that sadly this is going to be it for the Eagles. I think the Bucks are going to sneak one here and just shock the world, but it's just too much for Philly. It's all come crumbling down. It's the straw that's breaking the camel's back. A lot of football played in the last 2 seasons, and the Bucks, obviously they're thinking about week 3, but at the end of the day, like, this is a feisty team with a guy in Baker. He makes a play or two, his confidence is on a million when it
Mhm.
doesn't need to be, and that's not something you want to face in the playoffs. And with this team and the Bucks, they've got weapons both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
So and if they can control the clock with White in the backfield, which I think they're going to try to do a little bit as well, but still, I think it's going to be Baker's going to be the difference maker, making big time plays on 3rd down, exposing the corners for Philly. So give me the Bucks plus the 3. Only one confidence scale though, but I think Bucks might get this done and shock the world.
Okay. And Colin, in a game that I said is the hardest for me to call, you've got your 6 confidence score on this one. Who is it and why?
Well, see, I failed to really strategize prior to with points, so I was either going 6 on the Rams and Detroit, which is my hardest one to pick for the week, or a 6 on this game. This is the 3rd straight year Tampa Bay is hosting the NFC East wildcard team. They hosted Hurts in his first playoff appearance 3 years ago, hosted Dallas last year, hosts Hurts again this year. Weird way that Tampa just keeps winning the division. They're the worst division winner in the NFC 3 straight years. 2 streaky teams here. Eagles start 10-1, lose 5 of their last 6. Tampa starts 3-1, loses 5 of the next 6 to go 1-5, and then they win 5 of their next 6 to end the year. So it's just like, are we going to get the middle of the season Tampa who sucks, or are we going to get the starting and finishing into the year Tampa that shit pumps the Jaguars in Tampa? Are we going to get that team, or we get the bad team? Give me the Philadelphia Eagles -3 with my 6 confidence rating on it. This team is bad. They played a game last week with all their players in a game. Sure, you win, but you still need Washington to beat Dallas.
Mhm.
It's unlikely. Biggest spread we've seen either all year or definitely for the week, 13.5. And so you go out there, Hurts dislocates his finger. AJ Brown goes out there, hurts his knee or ankle. I forget what it was exactly. And it's just like a game you really didn't need these guys to play, and you're just getting more banged up. I do think Rachaad White's going to be a big X factor in this game, but give me the Eagles to at least squeak 1 playoff win.
Okay. I like it. And that's Super Wild Card Weekend, ladies and gentlemen. That will do it for our picks this week. That will do it for obviously the regular season. And it is it's playoff time, boys and girls. It is time to go. So that is all I've got for you. Good luck to all of our teams. Good luck, Addison, to your Bears as they navigate the first overall pick.
Yes.
And we will see you guys in recap of Wild Card Weekend next week. Have a good one.